Welcome to an interesting episode of Southern Sorcery. Today we're going to be watching this and reacting to why does Aetherdrift only have 2 Precon commander decks? Which I thought was interesting that they decided to even address this, so I do want to see what they have to say. I am a little curious about it, because last year we didn't get any sets that only had 2. But, you know, in years past, Wilds of Eldraine, I think, is the last time we just had 2 Precons in a set. So, for whatever reason, they decided to just do 2 for Aetherdrift, and then we'll kind of see what is there to say about it, and then kind of react to it as we go. I have not watched this at all yet, other than just to test the levels, so you can see I've watched 8 seconds of it so far. But anyway, don't forget we are giving away both of those Precons, so if you want to check those out, we will have a playlist for you to be able to check out. We'll have it on the screen, and we'll have it in the description as well. So if you want to get in on possibly winning those 2 Precons, we do have a video for each one where you can enter to win. I apologize for my stuffy head. It is that time of the year. So anyway, let's check it out and see what there is to be said about only having 2 Precons in Aetherdrift.
Today, let's talk a little bit about Aetherdrift Commander and a popular question I've been getting. Good morning, Magic. I'm Gavin Verhey from Wizards of the Coast, and I hope you've all been enjoying Aetherdrift previews out there. It's got everything from huge dinosaurs to new gods.
I am excited about this set. I didn't think I was going to be super excited, but
it's a lot of fun.
Looks
but today I
way
want to
more fun than
focus on the commander decks,
Fast and
telling you a
Furious
bit about them, what to expect, and answering a big question: why are there only 2 commander decks for Aetherdrift? Ready for the race? Let's dig in. To get into the themes of these decks, we need to first talk about how these connect to the story of Aetherdrift, and it's pretty relevant. So in Aetherdrift, racing teams are competing in the Girapur Grand Prix across 3 planes: Avishkar, Amonkhet, and Muruganda. While Muruganda we've never been to before, although it has been hinted at as a Vanilla Matters world on cards like Muruganda Petroglyphs, Avishkar and Amonkhet are places we've seen before and do have mechanical elements people remember. From Avishkar, the plane formerly known as Kaladesh, its most iconic mechanic was energy. It premiered there and was memorable as something really brand new.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And while it certainly showed up a couple times recently in both Fallout and Modern Horizons 3, it still is iconically originally from this world.
Which I am excited about. More energy support is
one
good.
Very strong, memorable piece was the Egyptian-inspired world with all its mummy zombies. We saw plenty of these last time on Amonkhet, and are something that comes to mind pretty fast when you think about the plane. After
the face commander is like a mummy.
But with both of these mechanics,
zombie.
There is a problem. The footprint they take up in a set is pretty substantial. To make energy work in a set, you need a lot of energy cards, so you have a good mix of inputs and outputs. And sure, you can make some new zombies, but to make an actual zombie deck work, you need enough zombies and zombie rewards. And when you have 3 worlds to show off, not to mention story moments and all the vehicles and gear, the main set just wasn't going to have room for either of these 2 iconic themes. Enter the commander decks. One thing we've talked about a lot on the Commander design team recently is how commander decks tied to sets are a great place to showcase themes that are flavorful, but the main set couldn't do. The shining example to me is the party deck in Battle for Baldur's Gate Commander. Making party work in the main set would have had tons of challenges, but party is such a great flavor fit for D&D, so rather than miss out on it, the commander deck got to do it. And these days, the main set often already has legends that support the set themes. You don't always need a 2nd or 3rd legend for the same theme in the same set. So let's go a little different direction here, something else the main set might have been missing. You'll see this philosophy appear other places throughout 2025's commander decks as well. And Aetherdrift commander lead Ethan Fleischer took this and ran with it. He delivered not just...
Okay, before we get on to this next part. So they only did 2 commander decks because the main set had too much happening in it, and they wanted to do only 2. Okay, but we've done 4 commander decks for lots of other sets that also had a lot going on. So why limit this one to just 2? I mean, I get it. Energy, there's not a lot of energy in the main set, but energy is something that is known with that plane, so you wanted to bring it back, so you decided to do it in a Precon. I'm totally fine with that, but you're visiting a brand new plane for the first time. Why would you not do a Precon based on that plane, especially for new players? Because that's how a lot of new commander players get into this, is with these precons. So I am a little curious about that, but maybe it explains
An
further.
energy and zombies deck to hit on what many people remember about these two worlds, but decks themed around Avishkar and Amonkhet, respectively. While, yes, like all commander decks, there are reprints from everywhere, extra care was put in to try and find cards set on world where possible to really make them feel like their respective worlds. And that brings me to the two decks. As you've gathered, the Living Energy deck, themed on Avishkar, is a green-red-blue energy deck. And the face card, Saheeli, has the twist that it also cares a bit about artificers. Artificers are also a thing Avishkar is known for creatively, and was even referenced mechanically previously on cards like Era of Innovation, so it's nice to have that nod here. Saheeli also loves to copy permanents to give you energy when they enter, to keep its ability going turn over turn. Between
really
Saheeli
like this deck.
and
It's
Pia,
super fun
you'll be
to play.
funneling your energy
Very,
into
very
creating
fun.
all
I'm gonna
kinds
build
of
it for
board
myself.
presence. The other deck, Eternal Might, is Zombies, themed on Amonkhet. This blue-white-black Zombies deck finally brings the best of zombies together, and the face commander
having white
helps
in a
make
zombie
sure they
commander is
stay
really good.
huge. A single card draw spell will buff your team tremendously, but even on his own, that's going to be +1/+1 if you can attack the turn you play him, and +2/+2 on subsequent turns. Thanks, Draw Step. There's also a bit of a discard theme too. Cycling is from Amonkhet too, by the way, and that makes Hashatan an awesome backup commander. There are all kinds of shenanigans you can pull with it. Now, there's a bit about the creation and what you can expect from these decks. And this time around, with two decks, I'm not doing my normal commander hints. I usually reserve those for the larger releases. But that does circle back to the original question. Why does Aetherdrift only have two decks? Alright, so let's rewind the clocks for a second. In the beginning, we did 5 decks, and then quickly adjusted to 4 as we found that was normal commander pod size. We continued with 4 decks as is for years, and then something happened. We started attaching commander decks to sets. We did 5 decks with Ikoria for our normal commander release, and then 2 decks with the subsequent sets. Okay, so 1 set a year would have the big commander release, and other sets would have 2. But then, man, the D&D collaboration really wanted 4, so we should make an exception here. And yeah, I guess Warhammer also wants 4, and then Commander Master
just became the
2,
norm.
and, well, the total number of commander decks ramped up, and 2 decks became less and less of the norm as more and more reasons gave way, until eventually in 2024, every commander release had 4 commander decks.
Yeah.
In 2025, we wanted to reevaluate and pull back a little bit. I was hearing a lot of feedback at the time about too many commander decks for people to keep up. By doing fewer, it means players get more time to evaluate the decks and cards, and also gives themes more time to breathe, while also going through design space slower. Though, yes, I too understand the irony of doing energy so soon again after last year. It just made sense for the play. In any case, it doesn't mean we
I don't
put
mind
less
it. I
time
think
and
energy
care
needs
into
the
these
support.
decks and their design. It's part of a conscious effort
viable.
by me and the whole team to
And
try and
zombies are
listen
just
to
fun.
their feedback. And this
And you needed
is
a
an
pre-code
experiment.
zombie
And I'll
commander.
say now at the top of 2025 that Aetherdrift is also not the only set this year with 2 decks,
Okay,
so you'll be seeing that again. Such is the wrinkle of working far in the future. One of the other unusual wrinkles about working in the future is that recently I've heard this feedback less and less, to the point where now I'm getting questions about why only 2 decks because people wanted 4. So I'd really love to know your thoughts here and where you stand now. You like some of these set-tied decks being 2-deck products. Would you prefer if it was always just 4 and consistent? Do you not care and just feel like doing whatever fits the set? Your feedback here would really be helpful, as literally we are currently working on upcoming years of Commander and would love to take what you have to say into account. Hopefully, this gave you a bit of background on the decks and why there's 2 of them. I'll talk with you again soon, and until then, enjoy the Aetherdrift previews.
So my thoughts are, as a content creator, I would always prefer 4. The more content, the better for us. That's point 1. That doesn't necessarily apply to everyone, you who is watching, whoever. Specifically, though, for Aetherdrift, I think you easily could have done a precon with the plane we've not seen yet. I think a Vanilla Creatures Matter precon could be interesting. You know, you don't see that very often. That would be something interesting. And the other thing would just be like a vehicle precon, given that the set is Aetherdrift, like that it's about racing. So I think just personally, maybe that's a missed opportunity there. You could easily have had 4 precons. The thing about the precons for me as well, in addition to my first point, is that the second point is you can't do precon battles with just 2 precon decks. So if you and your friends, you know, wanted to go to an event and do a precon battle pay to play pre-con. They do these things at a lot of events where you pay $50 or $40. You each get assigned a random pre-con from that set, and then you battle it out. I think that's really fun. You also miss out on a lot of YouTube content and creators getting those and then doing their own battles and you being able to watch that. So I think that's also sort of a missed opportunity. As far as only having two, I don't think it's the end of the world. I don't think it's bad per se. I think two is fine. I think, 24 pre-cons a year is a lot. That it is a lot. Don't get me wrong. 24, 25 pre-cons, however many a year, is a lot of pre-cons. But I do think those are probably one of the best sellers from every set, no matter what. It's a great entry point. It brings in new players. It gives existing players the ability to sort of maybe not have to sit around and fine tune a deck. They can get one and sink $50 into it and upgrade, and they're a good time. And some of it too, I enjoy the surprise of figuring out how the pre-con plays, figuring out what it wants to do. You play it 8 or 10 times without upgrading it, seeing what it does. I just think that's fun. I think it lets Wizards show people how much they as creators and developers of games kind of care. Developing the new cards specifically for the commander decks. It just like we all enjoy deck building. If you're a commander player, you probably enjoy deck building, maybe even more than actually playing the deck. Maybe deck building is your jam, so maybe precons aren't your thing, but that twofold is that you get to see the employees of Wizards who really care kind of do something, and then it's like playing one of your friend's pet decks almost. Like, my buddy has this deck, I want to play it, he's going to let me play it, or he, whatever, and you get to see like what it does, and you get to pilot it. So I think that part of precons are fun. So, on one hand, there's wallet fatigue, and there's probably development fatigue that, they're doing so many sets now that maybe they just didn't have time to develop 4 precons. Maybe they, were working on some other ones and they just didn't pan out. That, and that happens sometimes. But it sounds like this was pretty intentional. So we'll see. We'll see how the community reacts. We'll see. What's your thoughts? Jump in the comments to let us know what you think about it and what you would like to see more of. Did they miss an opportunity here to do some interesting precons? Did they nail it? Let me know. Jump down in the comments. Be sure you like and subscribe if you enjoy this content. We appreciate it and have an awesome day. Bye.